Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's educational presentation. Today, I want to talk to you about professional breakout trading. I would venture to say that most of you have tried to trade breakouts or breakdowns, but are having very little success in doing so. And this is very common because they have a lot of fits and starts. Usually, it's very difficult to find out when something is breaking out or not. For example, let me share with you why most traders fail when they're using breakout methods. Here's a standard chart here, an older chart of Adobe. This is the way most people would look for a breakout. They would see something that looks similar to this and say, well, we've been going down, but we've had the last 3 days have closed up. And on top of that, it looks as if we've maybe broken out of this short-term downtrend. And we've also got a very bullish engulfing pattern here. So lots of things telling me that we're most likely going to break out to the upside. So this is where traders jump in and decide to buy. And look what happens. Not only doesn't go up, but it really falls out of bed. And then you say to yourself, just to justify it, well, maybe I got in a little bit too early. That guy in that chat room says this is the real drawdown or downtrend line, I should say. And so if we close above that, then I'll decide to buy. Well, guess what? It does close above it, has a very strong upward day, another bullish engulfing pattern. So you say to yourself, well, this is the actual breakout. I'll buy some more. I'll do what's called doubling up and buy, and I don't need it to go up that much in order for me just to make a little money. And then this happens. For the next couple of weeks, it goes sideways to lower, right? This is why most traders aren't very successful when they're trading breakouts, because they're actually getting in at the wrong time and they don't have the consistency in a method that tells them when the right time is actually to enter. Well, what if I told you that with the method I'll be sharing with you today, you actually would have known that a professional breakout trigger was generated right here, just based off this bar, and how you could potentially capture 70 points. You see, this is what usually happens. You'll buy and continue to lose, and finally, when you give up, that's when it decides to go. Now, this can also work to the downside as well. A breakout is the exact same thing to the downside. It's just called another name. It's called a breakdown. For example, we have a nice upward trend in this older chart of VRTX. It's closed twice below that. So maybe that guy in that chat room says, well, you've got to sell this. It's broken down. So you decide to sell because maybe it is a breakdown. And look what happens. It not only didn't break down, it's actually in a strong uptrend. It's making higher highs and higher lows. So you say, I'm not going to touch this thing. It's probably going to make, more highs, and it's probably going to go to the moon. But in all actuality, the method I'll be sharing with you today actually signaled a professional breakdown trigger right here when you thought it was in the middle of an uptrend, and the stock fell 50 points. So this is the subject of today's educational class, professional breakout trading. I'm going to share with you a really powerful technique that automatically generates these breakout and breakdown triggers for you. But you can only get these auto triggers on the PTS Primo charting platform. I developed and designed this with proprietary strategies that actually identifies these professional breakouts and breakdowns in advance. So welcome once again. My name is Stephen Primo, President and Founder of Specialist Trading. If you're new to my webinars, well, we only have one category that we focus on, and that's education, because we are first and foremost an educational company. If you come here today thinking, well, I want to listen to this guy, he's going to tell me what I think the market's going to do. Is it going to go up, or is it falling out of bed? Is it going to keep going lower? Or he's going to tell me what the perfect market is to trade, or the perfect stock, or the perfect currency pair. No, you come to the wrong place, because you see, the entire industry is based upon that. I know because 50 years ago when I started trading, it was based upon the same categories. You would listen to some guy tell you what to buy or sell, and then automatically just follow that, hoping that, well, he must know what's right. But remember, that doesn't work, because it didn't work 50 years ago when I tried it, and it doesn't work now, because the odds are to 80 to 85% of all traders fail when they're using this type of focus. So what we want to do at Specialist Trading is to educate you so that you can make your own trading decisions instead of blindly following what someone else says or does. So I've taken all the things I've accumulated in my nearly 5 decades of trading, things that have high levels of consistency, and put them together in packages and programs so that you can learn how to make your own decisions. That is the sole purpose of Specialist Trading, and you'll see that today in today's educational class. Now, before we begin, we're required to share this with you, so please take a moment to view our disclaimer, As always, I'm going to share with you a lot of performance results by using this breakout method, but please remember that we can in no way guarantee that any of the results I'm about to share with you will be repeated in the future. And since we are first and foremost an educational company, all examples are strictly for educational purposes only. Now, if you'd like to get more education on a daily basis, all you have to do is follow us on Twitter. There's our handle right there, at SPCLST. I would recommend copying that down because every day I post between 5 or 7 different snapshots of signals our methods have generated, also little bits of financial wisdom. Another way to get more free education is to subscribe to us on YouTube. You know, we have a lot of people streaming right now live and following us on YouTube, and you can get a lot more of this content by subscribing as well. All right, so let's begin today's educational class. And let's start out with a question. What if there was a breakout indicator designed to identify these professional breakout and breakdown areas? What if it could just automatically be identified for you? Well, guess what? There is. It's called the PSBI. Now, this stands for the Primo Secret Breakout Indicator. Now, it's based on a number of things that I've accumulated in my 5 decades of trading, but let's just talk about them. Let's go over the highlights, okay? Firstly, it's based on a concept I learned some years ago on the trading floor, which is basically called everyone out of the pool. Now, I talked about this in my book, Secrets of a Stock Exchange Specialist, where when a stock or a market, it makes no difference, a future, a currency pair, crypto, when something breaks out, it doesn't mean that all the buyers are coming in. It means that the last seller has sold. All of the sellers are out of the pool. Now, conversely, when something breaks down, it doesn't mean that there are a ton of sellers coming in. It really means that the last buyer has bought and all of the buyers are out of the tool. So it's kind of a reverse type of concept, and it's based on that actual concept as well. Now, it's designed to identify these true breakout areas so that you don't get involved in the ones that are faulty, that have you buying and they keep going lower, and you buy more and they keep going lower. Now, it's a proprietary indicator. We're keeping the formula and the concept in-house because it's very difficult to explain and too cumbersome to actually put together and to formulate on your own. We've done all the hard work for you. The beauty of the PSBI is you can apply it to any market and any direction for breakouts and breakdowns. In a 15-minute chart, a monthly chart makes absolutely no difference. The PSBI does not know what it's looking at. It doesn't say, well, I'm looking at a chart of the British pound, so I have to readjust for a breakout here. No, it doesn't know. It's only looking at market behavior. Now, it can be also used as an exit or stop and reverse type of method, and I'll show you an example of that as well. And lastly, on our platform, you will have the ability to scan for nightly setups. So you don't have to do what I had to do some years ago and look through hundreds of charts on a nightly basis to look for these setups. You can actually scan on our platform, and in a matter of minutes, probably less than a minute, you can see what the next day's breakout triggers are. Okay, so let me share with you the process for identifying these PSBI breakouts and breakdowns. All right, so let's look at our old friend here, Adobe. This is the first chart we share with you. Okay, so we appear to be going lower. We have 3 days closing up. We have this bullish engulfing pattern. So we're real bullish, right? We think it's breaking out, but look what happens. Then it goes lower and lower. And so we say, okay, maybe we got in too early. Ah, there's the real breakout. So we jump in. Nope, doesn't do anything. We're still losing money. Here's how simple it is. On our platform, and we made it simple on purpose so that regardless if you've been trading a week or if you've been trading 20 years, everyone would go through the same simple process. You would just, on our green strategy tab right here, where we have all our methods and techniques, identify where it says PSBI and click that on. And in the drop-down menu, you'd see buy area. Now we're going to be looking for a buy or a breakout area because the price has been going lower, right? It hasn't broken out to the upside yet. So if it does properly identify the secret breakout area, it will encompass either one or so many bars in a green area, okay? Telling you that this is fertile for a buying opportunity. So this does not mean we buy just because price is closing in there. What we want to do is see it trade, not close, but trade above this high area here. We mark it for in the price as well. Now, it's hard for you to see that, but it traded just above on this day. So this is your actual breakout trigger. A lot of students will say, yeah, but Steve, it traded there, but now look at it, closed back down. That's okay. As long as you have your stop in place, and we teach you where that stop should be in the course. And as long as you entered, well, guess what? You could have potentially captured 70 points in the following days. That's how simple this is. Now, it works to the downside as well. Remember, we were looking at VRTX. You thought it was breaking down right here, right? Some guy said in TV or in a chat room, and it went higher. In fact, it looks like it's in a standard uptrend. Well, on our platform, all you have to do is click on PSBI. Once you see the drop-down menu, since it's been going up, now we're going to want to identify the sell area. And if it identifies a valid professional sell area, it will encompass the bars in a red block, as it does right here. Okay, so just because it's in a red block, though, does not mean you sell thinking that's it, it's topped out. You have to wait for it to trade below here. And look what happened. It gapped down tremendously. Even though this is the trigger point, it gapped down. But had you sold on the opening, you still could have captured 50 points in the next week. So this is how simple this process is. Even if you had seen this, you may have wanted to say, well, gosh, I'm long. Maybe I just want to exit and flatten out. So let's look at some upside breakout examples. These are recent ones that have happened within the last month or so, some in the last week. And remember, everything you're seeing today is displayed by using the PTS Primo charting platform that I developed to make trading simple and to auto-identify these professional breakout areas. Okay, so we're looking at a chart in Zoom, okay, ZM. Now we can see we've been going lower. So what you want to do is, once we are going lower, you continue to click on the PSBI and hit the buy. See if there's a buy area here. And there finally was one right here, circled, or I should say squared in green. Once we trade above that, that is your entry point. That's your trigger for entry. So you would have entered right here, and look what happened in the next week. 15 points in 1 week. Not a bad little breakout, right? Now, this just happened just a little over a week ago. Here's another example in CVX. Same thing, price is heading lower, so we're looking to buy. Click on the PSBI block, click on buy area, and when it properly identifies the secret breakout area, it will surround or square these bars in green. Now, just because they're in the green block does not mean you buy. You wait for it to trade above. So it traded above right here. That's your entry point on that trigger. 30 points coming into just last week. 30 points, not a bad little breakout. How about IBRX? Now, this happened a month ago in beginning of January. Price was going sideways to lower. You would have clicked on the PSBI buy area, and you see here, starting at the end of December, price was in the buy area, but we are, this is just meant to be as an alert, as a warning that this is getting ready to break out. We don't enter until we're triggered by trading above that green block, which was right here. And so that would have been our entry. Now, this is a very inexpensive stock. As you can see, this is only a $2 stock. And look what happened coming into the end of January. It was up 6 points, but that was a total of 200%. Okay, think of it, 200%. Think if you were trading Tesla and it was up 200% in a couple of weeks. So it's all relative. This is a very inexpensive stock. You potentially could have purchased multiple shares. Or we can look at an entirely different market. Here's the Australian dollar. As you can see, it's had these little fits and starts. It looks like it's going up, then goes down. It looks like it's going up, then goes lower, up, lower. But here's where the PSBI entry point was. It was in the green block right here, but here's where it was triggered, right there. So that's your entry when it traded just above the top of that green block. And coming into the end of January, just last week, it was up 575 pips. Potentially close to $6,000 per unit, potentially could have made just off that one setup. Now, here's a weekly chart of the spiders. Now, since it's a weekly chart, we're going back a little bit further, back to May of 2025, almost a year ago. All right, price was heading lower in 2025, and it looked like we were starting to go up. But at the end of this week, right here, price was in the secret green block area or the secret breakout area. So this was telling us that, wow, there may be a breakout to the upside. Remember, this is almost a year ago. And so these are the spiders that represent this the ETF that represents the S&P 500. So if you're just using this as a market directional tool, you could have said, well, if we break above this on a weekly basis, the market's going to have a nice rally. Once again, this was about 10 months ago. It broke out on the next week, so you could have entered right there on that trigger. And as you can see, we've been going up. This is up until the end of this last month, 125 points, almost straight up since that breakout. Now, that was comparable to 7,800 Dow Jones Industrial Average points. So, what a lot of our students like to do is use this as a market directional tool. They'll apply it to an ETF or some type of indice, because you can apply it to any market, doesn't matter. And if there's a breakout or a breakdown in that particular group, well, then you're pretty much likely to see the same direction in individual markets. Okay, let's look at some downside breakout examples. Okay, so these are ones that breaking down, and they happened recently as well. Now, here's an example in TCOM, all right? Now, the price of this stock has been going higher. So we're now doing the opposite. We're not looking for a breakout to the upside. We're looking for a breakdown. So we would click on PSBI, and in the drop-down menu, click on secret sell area. And this is the secret sell area in red. Now, just because it's in red does not mean that we sell. It's saying that it's getting ready to break down. But it can only trigger a breakdown once it trades below this red block, which was right here. And as you can see, just barely traded below there on that day. And look what happened. It gapped down the next day. Gapped down the next day and was down 15 points in about 4 days. All right. Now, we had no idea this was going to gap down. It was probably based on some news announcement, some announcement, some communication of some sort. But it's funny how the secret breakout entry point was triggered the day before it gapped down. This is the beauty of following market behavior instead of waiting for fundamental news to tell you what to do. All right, here we have an example in APGE. This was just a couple of weeks ago. Now, we had the stock relatively going higher, very slow but orderly. And we had the red block right here, the breakdown area right here. It traded below. In fact, it opened below and then closed back up. And then the next day didn't go down either. And a lot of students would say, well, Steve, I thought it's supposed to break down. Well, sometimes it takes a little bit of time to come to its conclusion. But ultimately, look what happened. It fell 18 points in the next week or so. So it may take a day or two before it kicks in. As long as your stop is in place and your money management, you should be okay over time. Now, here's an example. Oh, let's go back. We kind of jumped the gun. Here was a trigger entry in the dollar yen. As you can see, we were going higher. We're in the red block. Once we traded below, that's our entry point. Now, we could have taken a nice little profit on this one day or taken 500 pips or $5,000 in 3 days altogether. Potentially could have captured that. And this just happened about a week or two ago. As we look at AVAV, the same example, we're going higher, as you can see. So we're not looking to buy, we're looking for a breakdown. At this point right here, this was in the middle of January, just about 3 weeks ago, these price bars started to be in the red secret breakdown area. It wasn't until this day on the 20th that it actually broke down below. So that's your entry point to go short, buy puts, or if you were long the stock, that's a good place to exit the stock because the stock fell 90 points in the following 2 weeks coming into this month. Now, this took a couple of weeks to have a 90-point downward move, or sometimes it only takes 1 day. This happened in CVNA. This was just about a week ago. Price was in the red block, the secret area, and then it traded below right here on the 28th. Okay, this was just like a week ago, down 90 points in just 1 day. Okay, let's review what we taught you today. This is based on the everyone out of the pool concept. So in other words, a breakout is usually justified when people say, well, there's all the buyers are coming in. There's tons of buyers. This is the opposite. A breakout to the upside happens when all of the sellers are out of the way and it can just go up on air. And it does the same thing in reverse for downside moves. Now, it's designed to identify these true breakout areas, not the ones where you get in and then they immediately go the opposite direction. It's a proprietary indicator. As you can see, we made it simple. We made these green and red blocks so that all you have to do is look for that secret area And then you know that a breakout or a breakdown is imminent. You can track it and follow it. The beauty of the PSBI is you can apply to any market, any direction. I showed you examples in weekly charts. I showed you examples in currency pairs and in stocks. You can use it. We have a lot of traders who apply it to crypto and to intraday trading. You can also use it as an exit and a stop and reverse. A lot of our students like to use it to enter, and then the minute they get in, then they wait for the breakdown to exit and get out. And lastly, you can scan for these nightly setups. So you don't have to look through hundreds, if not thousands of stocks. You can simply, in a matter of minutes, find out what the setups are for the next day. So ask yourself, as we do every week, do you think the PSI can help your trading for the remainder of 2026? We just have 11 more months left. If January, the first month of this year, was terrible or abysmal for most traders, if none of your stuff was working, I think the PSBI can get you back on track in the beginning of this year. So because of that, we have a special offer for all of you taking the time out of your day to attend today's educational class. We're going to offer you the new PSBI tool, our non-traditional breakout tool that generates a lot of setups applying to both breakouts and breakdowns, any market, any time frame. You can apply it as a stop loss method as well. And here's an extra bonus, what we call price projection. Let me share with you a little bit about that. Here's the extra bonus as well. These are price projections, meaning that as a tool, we will tell you where most likely, based on another concept, another formula, a calculation, where price is most likely to go. So if you apply this, this will help you in making your decision whether you want to trade it or not. For example, here was an older chart in Apple that had a secret buy area generated. Now, let's say you wanted to take this trade, but you weren't sure how high it would go. You know, maybe it would just go up a little bit. So all you have to do is click on, once again, the PSBI. In the drop-down menu, since it was a buy, you're looking for the buy price projection. Click that on, and it automatically appears. This is a projection, a formula that we calculate, once again, in-house for you. That doesn't mean that it's going to automatically stop there, but at least says that price should at least come up to this level. So if that meets your needs, if you say to yourself, hey, that's not bad, at least I can take that profit. Well, let's see what happened. If you take the trade and in 2 days, it got to the price projection, and look what happened after that. So a lot of times it will go there and turn around. Or, for example, in this secret sell area, as we see here, here's an older chart of MS, Morgan Stanley. Now you say to yourself, well, you know what? This has been going up a lot. I think if it breaks down by trading below this trigger here, I'll go short or buy the puts, but I don't really have any idea where it can go. Once again, click on PSBI. Since you're looking to go short, click on sell PP or sell price projection, and it automatically appears. You say to yourself, wow, that's a nice little move there. I could automatically trade that. That's nice. So you take the trade, and in 2 days, it gets to the price projection, and look what happens. Automatically turns around. Now remember, even though this isn't guaranteed, you'll see this over and over again. A sell signal here in DDOG, sell area, price projection, gets right there and turns around. Or right here in KLAC, buy price projection. Now this one would have been a nice profit. So there's your entry. In about a week or so, it got right to the price projection and then quickly turned around. You will only find the PSBI price projections on the PTS Primo charting platform. So if you don't have our platform, you won't know exactly where these points are. So that shows you how powerful it is, not only to have the PSBI, but also to have the platform. So here's what we're going to do. If you decide to become a PSBI student with us right now, we will throw in a full year absolutely free of our platform. You're going to save over $1,700 in fees just by getting the platform absolutely free. Now, with the platform, you're not going to just get the PSBI along with the price projections. You're going to get dozens of techniques and tips that I've accumulated that I just don't have time enough to go over, and I don't want to take all of your Wednesday here to explain, but here's just a short list. As we said, you'll get the scanner, our price projection, our enhanced buy sell line, which tells you 4 different ways to find out what the overall trend is of any market, any time frame. A strength of trend tool, which we developed, that automatically tells you if a market is running out of steam or if it has some more gas left in the tank to rally or to sell off. It's a great tool. Auto-generated signals for buys, for sells. This is entirely different from the price projection. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are just dozens more things that you'll get free on the platform for an entire year. And this all comes with personalized tech support. Now, if you're still not convinced, I want you to take a look at this chart here. As you can see in the upper left-hand corner, these are the spiders, okay? The spiders are the ETF that represents the S&P 500, right? So we're looking at the market rally. As you can see, this is a daily chart. The market has been going higher. And right here at or towards the top, the PSBI generated, because we've been going higher, a secret breakdown area, because it's saying most likely a top is about to happen or some type of breakdown, all right? So if you were along the market, or if you just wanted to kind of have an idea of what you think the market was going to do, it doesn't mean you have to trade the spiders. You could have applied this as a market directional tool and said, hey, you know what? I should maybe think about exiting my long positions or raising my stops or protecting myself, because this is signaling that the spiders that represent the S&P 500 is going to break down, all right? Now, here's the one thing I want you to notice. Look at the bottom left-hand corner. What's the year? January 2020. All right. Do you remember what happened in 2020? Does the COVID crisis ring a bell? Bring to mind anything? And now, if you notice the red secret sell area right here, we actually traded this day below. So this was actually your breakdown entry on the 18th of February in 2020, some 6 years ago. A sell signal was generated because a breakdown trigger had been fulfilled. And we all know what happened after that. Now, the spiders in the next month fell 120 points. Now, if you wanted to calculate that for Dow Jones points, that equaled over 11,000 Dow Jones points. Now, if you wanted to go short, well, you might have made a killing like a number of our students did. Or if you wanted to just be prudent and you were along the market, you could have said, you know what, I'm going to exit right here because the market's breaking down. I don't want to be long if it's a valid breakdown signal. So either way, you would have saved yourself a lot of money or perhaps made some money potentially. Do you see now the power of this tool, how it can really help you? Now, the market the last couple of days has been acting very negatively. Okay, wouldn't you like to know if we've broken down into a breakdown trigger using the PSBI? Well, you can find out if you become a student of the PSBI course. A year from today, trust me, you will have wished you became a member of this course. You'll be getting all this information with one click. You can scan for indices, ETFs, stocks, futures, currency pairs, all with one click access. Okay, here's how to take advantage of this great new tool. Okay, this is one of my favorite tools. I use this all the time because it's such a great tool. All right, now normally the PSBI goes for $5,000 because it's that powerful of a tool. But here's what we're going to do today. We're going to discount that down to $44.95. We're going to give you two different ways to pay. You can pay in full, and you'll save $500, roughly 10%, and you'll pay in full, $44.95, or you will have a payment plan. For a limited time, Pro Trader Strategies, my sister site, is having payment plans, meaning that for a fraction of that $44.95, and I mean a fraction, you can have a one-time down payment and then establish a payment plan and still be up and running with the PSBI tool today. You can be up and running as early as today if you'd like. Now, either way, if you decide to pay in full and say, no, I'm ready to pay in full, or you just decide to establish a payment plan with a fraction of that $44.95, you still get a full year absolutely free of the platform. So here's how to take advantage of this great offer. Remember, this is for a limited time. Either take a 10% discount or establish a payment plan. Go through protraderstrategies.com. You can contact them. Probably the best thing would be to call them at 310-598-6677. They have trading consultants manning the phones. They would be more than happy to take your order over the phone, or just to answer any question about establishing a payment plan. They can give you a quote. They can answer any question you may have. But trust me, they're there to work with you. They're not in any way, trying to, just make you feel intimidated and make you feel you have to buy this. It's up to you. But they're there to work with you, and they'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Okay, now that link you see at the very bottom is the link that will take you to the sign up page if you'd like to sign up online, or just the info page. There's a lot more information on that as well. But it's not a live link. As always, you have to copy and paste that onto a browser. If you'd like to find a live link, just go to the chat box, a little chat icon on your Zoom tray there, and click that on, and you will see that there's a live link posted there for you. You can click that on as well, okay? Now, I'll leave this up here. If you have any questions, you can go to your chat box or the question and answer box and ask me anything you'd like. Okay, now's the time. To Steve, does this work on intraday trading? Yes, it does. I don't know if you saw, I showed some intraday examples, but remember, it makes no difference. As I stated earlier in the beginning, the PSBI does not know what time frame it's looking at. It does not know what market it's looking at. It's looking at market behavior. It's looking for price action. And when that price action happens, that's when it makes a decision. So it makes absolutely no difference what time frame or what market you're looking at. So don't worry. If you're an intraday trader, that's fine. I use it on intraday trading myself. There were some great sell signals today using this on the E-mini futures. So it's entirely up to you what market or what time frame you'd like to use. Okay. Does this recalculate? Yes, it does. What happens is so many times is that you'll get this like a secret buy area or a secret sell area. And remember, we're waiting for the trigger either to trade above or to trade below those secret area blocks. But if it doesn't trade above and it continues, let's say you have a buy block, a buy secret area in green, and price doesn't trigger above and continues to go lower and lower, well, then it will recalculate and then generate the box even lower for you. So yes, it does recalculate, but that's meant for your good, okay? So that you don't just say, oh, it's in a green block, so I'll just buy at the market. You have to wait for it to trade up above that trigger area, okay? I hope that makes sense. Any more questions? How long is this discount going for? That's probably a better question for Pro Trader Strategies. Usually they last a week or less, but it's entirely up to them because next week I'll be giving a presentation with a different offer. So I would call them. Once again, there's absolutely no obligation. They're not trying to intimidate you like some other websites do. They'll answer any question you may have and even give you a quote on a payment plan if you'd like. But I would most likely say no more than a week. So you're going to, each and every one of you will get a link to this recording. You can watch it over and over again, but please don't sit on it too long. So many people have told us in the past, they've decided not to take the offer and they've waited a couple of months and then they've lost a lot more money. And they said, you know what, I'm going to try that PSBI or whatever. And then they come back and the offer is no longer good and you have to pay full price. So if you're at all interested, you want to take your trading to the next level, give them a call right now. You can still, even without purchasing, you can still ask them a ton of questions and they can answer them for you over the phone, okay? 310-598-6677. Okay, as we come to the end of today's class and we take one last look at our disclaimer, I hope you learned something about how we really want to educate you and how we want you to become successful. You know, so many students think that there are only so many, or they've been taught that there's just so many or so much profits to go around on a daily basis. That couldn't be further from the truth. There's an unlimited amount of profits on a daily basis just waiting to be taken. It's just that you have to have the proper education and tools and the ability to do so. That's the purpose we serve. That's the service we provide. We want to give you that information so that you can be a part of that group that is able to capture those profits on a daily basis. And the PSBI, in my opinion, can greatly help you do that. Okay? So as we close, I just want to say thanks one more time, and I look forward to all of you becoming students of mine in the PSBI course. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.